Did I just realize that there's a possibility that my camera wouldn't work? Yes. Hold on, I'm gonna fix it really quick. I just transferred all of my stuff over to something else, and it just was like, you know what? We don't need your face. Good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the BroadcastHER Live. How are you? It's nice to see you. We have an incredible show for you today. I'm super excited. I got to watch the video this morning that's going in today, and I'm like, I was laughing. Did I almost pee my pants? No, because I wouldn't tell you that. That would be ridiculous. There you are. I know, it's nice to see my actual face, right? Instead of just a black screen. It's weird because once you switch everything over, there's like little things. You're like, my face, will my face work? It's okay, we got my face to work. So hi, we've got some stuff to talk about today. If you don't know who I am, my name's LuxieGames. I'm the host here and also a variety streamer here on Twitch. Today we're gonna be talking to a few people. We're gonna be talking to Richard Huggan, the managing director at Hitmarker, and Emily, who is the 2020 BroadcastHER Academy recipient, an esports athlete, and a Twitch broadcaster. I mean, from what it says, what can't she do? We're going to be talking about 1,000 Dreams Fun recent partnership with Hitmarker and their upcoming plans, plus our BroadcastHER Academy recipient Emily's experience as a Black woman in gaming and what needs to change. Plus a special video celebrating some wonderful Black women in video games, which is hilarious. I'm so excited to get into the show. So we're gonna call in Rich in a second. First, how are you doing? Are y'all good? You holding up okay? Did you sleep? Have you had any water? All of those are important. Take a nap, maybe. I could use a nap, probably. I feel like we all could. Sleep just went out the window when 2020 started, so. Kayla, you need a nap for sure. I can feel it. All right, so we're gonna call in Rich and get started. Richard. Sorry, his name on Discord is Rich. All right, give me 1 second. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you again. It's been about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a whole 5 minutes.
How are you doing today?
We're good over here. We're surviving. Everyone's working remotely. It's I think we're in week number 17 of remote work as a team now. So it's difficult, but we are talking to each other on Slack, hanging out on Discord, and kind of getting through it together as a staff team over here.
I'm glad to hear it. 17 weeks is a... Now that you say that number of weeks out loud, it's hitting me how long we've been in quarantine for.
I think we all lost count, and then we'll remember like the day that we all went home from the office, and it's like, oh, it's nearly 4 months, or it's more than 4 months now. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, it is. So thank you for being here and taking the time to talk about esports and Hitmarker. So could you start off by telling us a little bit more about Hitmarker and what you do for those that don't know?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it super brief. So Hitmarker was started around 3 years ago as an esports only jobs board. So it was literally an old fashioned jobs board where we would only accept a job that was related to esports. Sometimes things slipped through that weren't 100% esports, as they always do. But it was started as a passion project by my younger brother, who was the founder of the company. He recognized that there was a need for the esports space to have a centralized hub of job opportunities because it didn't exist. He was running a company at the time, and I think when they were looking for designers and new staff, they found it difficult to know where to go and where to find those people. So he created it. He set it up with a few friends for the first 6 months. I joined 6 months later, and it's just been crazy from there. We've grown really quickly. We now have a staff team of 10, 8 of us who work from Newcastle in the north of England and 2 remote freelancers. And we are still an esports jobs board, but these days we're also a general video game jobs board, which is just something that's 3 months old. And there's a very subtle distinction there. But we started posting jobs from the likes of Rockstar recently. We've got a ton of jobs from EA, lots of different companies that we'd never advertised before. So it's been an exciting few months, definitely.
That's first of all incredible. Also recognizing that need, because I think anybody that's done anything in the video game industry is like, where do you find the jobs and how do I get to them in one place? That's incredible. So what sort of tools does Hitmarker host for those who may be job searching in esports and gaming or developing themselves professionally?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we try and help people out on a day-by-day basis. So on the website, we have a lot of guide articles on there, which are like step-by-step how-tos in terms of how do I produce an esports resume? How do I do a cover letter? Because while a job application in esports is just like a job application in any other industry. There are definitely a few little quirks, as you might be aware of yourself, where you can really speak to the hiring manager or the HR person if you show that you're super passionate about games and you're super passionate about competitive gaming. And I think a lot of people are just very safe with their applications sometimes because they get taught in school and college just to be very regimented, very black text on white backgrounds. So we try and encourage people to be a bit more free with their job applications, to use some color, to show some personality, to talk about the passion that they have, while obviously not forgetting the skills and the experiences, which is ultimately what the employers are looking for. So we've got free guides on there. We have a team now, like I said, of 10 people. And part of our job on a day-by-day basis is just helping people over DM, helping people over email. So we'll do one-on-one resume and cover letter help for people when people need it. Sometimes people come to us for interview help and tips if they've never had an interview before. And we get questions like, what should I wear to the interview? What should I talk about? What questions should I be ready for? So we try and help as many people as we can. But the website is intended to be like a one-stop shop where you can go and you can find at least every single English language job that's there related to games and esports, because we pull them in from a ton of different sources. And then when you're on the website, if you find something that you want to apply to or that you're interested about or you want to learn more about, DMs are open. We're very easily taught through email. We've got live chats, so people can reach out and talk to us in a bunch of different ways.
That's incredible. Also, the idea that somebody's going to call you and ask what to wear to their interview is the most wholesome thing I've ever heard. I love that
It happens
so much.
It happens all the time. Yeah, it's like
if
how
nobody
formal.
tells you, it's nice to be able to be like, I don't know what I'm wearing. Please help. So 1,000 Dreams Fund is ecstatic about partnering with Hitmarker on supporting the professional development of the women they serve in esports and gaming. Why is it so important for Hitmarker to partner with 1,000 Dreams Fund on this mission?
Yeah, well, I think this year was the first year where we've got enough people to kind of do our day-by-day job. Before this year, we really just been a super small startup where we've just been trying to survive month on month and just trying to grow the brand. And this year, we felt like we've got enough people here. So everything's growing fine. The revenues are increasing. We've got investors now, so we're a lot more comfortable in terms of the financial side. So we started to think kind of like maybe it's time we start to do more for the community and to really focus on minority areas and areas where people really need help. And in esports, 100% that is females. Unfortunately, when I first started at the company 3 years ago, less than 10% of all users on Hitmarker were female, which if you think about it, in esports, it's probably not that hard to understand 3 years ago, but it's still not great by any stretch of the imagination. The good news is that that number in 2020 has climbed now to 17%, which is still way too small, but over 3 years to see a 7% growth in total audience for us on the female side is fantastic. But we want to do more to keep that growing, to kind of give more opportunities to females who are keen to get involved in the esports and gaming space, and to try and help them more directly, which is a big thing for what this partnership with 1,000 Dreams Fund is all about. It's reaching people who have reached out to ask for help separately. And 1DF have kind of pulled us in to say, look, these guys know a bit about hiring and jobs in the esports and game space, and they're going to leverage our data and our expertise. So we're really happy to be working with them, and we're already working day by day to help some of the fellows of the BroadcastHER Academy, which is really cool.
That is amazing. God, I love that so much. So with this in mind, Hitmarker has quite a few opportunities planned with 1,000 Dreams Fund for 2020. Could you tell us a bit more about what that entails?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of the agreement, we wanted to try and do as much as we could, because these kind of agreements that we make tend to be like benefit in kind. So it's us donating time and effort and expertise to try and make a difference. So we wanted to do as much as we possibly could. So part of the agreement is that we are going to be helping out, I think, between 10 and 16, depending on how many apply for it, of the BroadcastHER Academy fellows with their resume and cover letter materials. So because it's such a special partnership, those are super deep dive things that we do where 1DF will send us over their application materials from the fellows. We'll sit back and look at it really objectively and try to give really super detailed feedback just based on what we know works from people who've got jobs through Hitmarker and through the hiring managers that use Hitmarker to find their candidates. So that's a big part of it. Hopefully we'll be able to help all 16 if possible. And then next year, as our team grows and we get more time, I would hope that we can help more and more people as the years go by. Another big part of it is that we are going to be putting on a couple of workshops as well directly with 1DF, where it's all focused around careers in esports and gaming. And because of the nature of the BroadcastHER Academy, we'll obviously try and put as much of a broadcasting angle on that as possible. We've got a little bit of expertise in-house in terms of casting and that kind of thing, and we know a ton of people in the industry who work in that side of the business. So I would hope those workshops could be really, really valuable. And because that's a total collaborative effort between Hitmarker and 1DF, we think it'll fit your guys' audience really, really well and hopefully be super useful.
Amazing. So the first workshop is later this month. It's July 30th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Could you tell us a little bit more about what the attendees could expect?
It's we haven't finalized too much yet. So basically this week we've just started working on the actual plan. So basically how it works is we get a brief kind of like, this is what we think you guys would be able to help with. So it's obviously going to be based around esports and game careers. But it's Carmen, our team, who's basically led this partnership with the Thousand Dreams Fund. He has been just preparing this week for the first time the workshop agenda. He sent it off to 1DF yesterday, I think. So we're just waiting to hear back to see, is it approved? Is it kind of what you guys were looking for? And when Kayla and the others come back with some notes for us, then we'll be able to finalize it. But unfortunately, I can't give too much more away than that at the moment because nothing's approved. And I would hate to say that something's going to happen and then we aren't able to actually do that when the day comes.
Very fair. Also, that just makes it so that if you're interested in joining the Hitmarker and 1,000 Dreams Fund free workshop, RSVP via the link in chat, and there are 75 spots open. So if you want to hear the plan that's going to get approved, you got to go through that option as well. So some tips and advice on job searching in esports. For those who are interested in getting their foot in the gaming industry, what sort of starter tips would you have for them to secure a job?
Yeah, that's a huge question that I'll try and keep really simple. So the thing that we find most helpful when we give advice is just to get the person involved to think about kind of where do they see themselves fitting in the industry. And that sounds like a super easy and basic question, but a lot of people don't sit back and just think for 5, 10, 15 minutes about what kind of jobs exist in esports these days. And the answer to that is tons. Pretty much every kind of job you can find in all of the industries will exist in esports now. So the best first step people can take is to do a little bit of research and do a little bit of discovery. Use Hitmarker, definitely use LinkedIn and Indeed, which are other good sources of esports jobs. If you type that into the search bar, you'll find a lot of things on Twitter as well. Find other connections on LinkedIn in terms of people that you might know through your network and figure out what kind of jobs they have, because not everybody can be like a host or a presenter like you are and be like a personality. But there are a lot of background roles like community management, social media management. There's a ton of demand for software developers and people who can code now. And there's all kinds of jobs from recruiters, which is kind of what we do, human resources, the legal teams now in esports, and accounting teams, if you can believe that. So pretty much any kind of degree or qualification that you might have, whether it's high school or collegiate, there will be jobs for you. So it's really important that you figure out early the areas where you feel like you could apply to in the industry. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's basically going on the websites. On Hitmarker, you can search by sector. So we've tried to separate out the entire esports industry into 56 different little sections. We've got an article on there which kind of explains what each of them means and what kind of jobs you can find in each of those. And when you figure out kind of what your general sector is, then you can have a look at the job titles that exist within that sector. And it gives you a really clear north that you can always aim for, where it's kind of like, yes, I might not be able to be like social media manager for Cloud9 tomorrow, but if that's my ultimate goal, then what little steps can I take in the meantime to get there further down the line? And within that, the biggest advice we would have is kind of leverage all of the free resources you can get. Speak to anybody that you know who's already working in the industry, because people are very happy to give up their time. Come and talk to us, because we help people every single day with advice and tips in terms of how to get started. But the biggest thing people can do is just figure out, where do I fit? Where do my skills fit? And that sounds super easy, but people find that really hard to do.
I was about to say, just the being able to, because now watching esports grow and gaming in general, seeing every single aspect of life you see outside of the gaming industry come into the game industry, like attorneys and CPAs and things like that, has been really cool, because it's such a niche. So having people that are able to do that is incredible. So when putting together a cover letter and resume, what sort of things should folks keep in mind for esports?
Yeah, so yeah, it's a great question again, and you've really just nailed it with exactly what you just said. It's kind of like if you have those professional skills, say even if you've got awesome customer service experience and you've worked in customer service forever, there are now becoming more and more customer-facing roles that are directly revolving around esports and gaming. Less so now that COVID has hit and there's less live events and the arenas that have started to pop up aren't open. But that is an area where there are more opportunities coming up. So when it comes to the cover letter and resume, you've got to think to yourself about what are employers looking for. And typically we find that the demand for passion and knowledge about esports and or gaming always features in like the top 3 things that employers are looking for. And that's why a lot of people use Hitmarker, because they know that they're coming here and they're going to find people that are gamers and that love the scene and love the industry. So I'm assuming pretty much the majority of people watching will have that kind of passion or have that interest at least. Then tying that up with, can I actually do the job that is being advertised? That is the crucial thing, because so many jobs have such a laundry list of requirements. Even if you can tick off quite a few of those on the requirements list and you have that extra knowledge and passion about each sports there, you've got to make sure that that's being clearly shown in your cover letter. The cover letter is a great place to get personal and to show off some personality, to show off some knowledge about the company that you're applying to. And people tend to be a little bit too formal with cover letters. And if you think about a typical esports or gaming job, they might be getting hundreds and hundreds of applications. So if your cover letter is just like, my name is X, I would like to work for you because X, it's kind of, that is what hundreds of those other cover letters are going to be like. So make yourself stand out. Don't be afraid to take a risk and put some personality in there. And resumes as well. Don't be afraid to move away from Times New Roman 12 black text on white background. People will not penalize you in esports for showing a bit of color and a bit of personality on your applications.
It's great to know. It's good to know that like such a new aspect of like the career world in general is allowing more personality. So do you think you have any other essential tips or info for those aspiring to get their foot in the door for esports and gaming?
I think the only thing that I'll finish on for people to keep in mind is just to understand that it's still early in the days. It's just as you said, it's only now beginning to see all of these other roles exist in esports. So it's still a super early time to get in, which is great. But the flip side of that is that there aren't that many roles available, as I'm sure anybody who's already looked will find out, and that each role tends to be super, super competitive. So keep that in mind all the time, that it's like, you don't need to be the 100% absolute perfect candidate. You just need to be the best candidate out of everyone that will apply. But that means that every single cover letter and resume that you write should be tailored to that specific role that you're applying for. The biggest piece of advice I can give on that front is try and limit yourself to the amount of jobs you apply for, to the ones that you feel are a really good fit, rather than sending off 20 or 30 different applications that are more generic. I think if you take time to really focus applications on a job and speak directly to that company in their own voice at times, then that can always give you a really big leg up on the 99% of other people who will not do that.
Perfect. And amazing advice. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. I know that this is like such a niche area that nobody knows where to get information on. So this partnership is going to be incredible. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming and taking the time to talk to us today.
Awesome. Thank you for the invite. That was like the fastest 15 minutes I've ever had. So it was great. Thanks a lot.
No, and you packed so much incredible information into it. Thank you so much. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks. Bye now.
Bye. Oh my gosh. I think one of the most complicated things about esports is that there is so much knowledge and so much happening all over the place that it's so nice to hear that people are coming together to consolidate that. So next we have an incredible guest. Her name is Emily, and she made this amazing video. So I'm going to play this video before we call her in, and we'll switch to that now. I hope you enjoy it. It made me chuckle this morning.
I got a problem. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of a problem.
Looks like a care package is coming in.
I downed the hostile.
was just like, man. Although they did pull the trying to steal this airplane. She done snatched it. That was his airplane. Did it. Fight me. It's complete. I don't want no to-do list items.
Oh my god. Please. Hey. Stop it. Yeah? Yeah? Get out of here. Get out of here.
This bug, he just ran up to me like, yes, adopt me. I wish I could, but I can't. Like, I don't know the controls anymore. I don't know the controls anymore.
Where he at? He over there? Where is that in relation to where I need to go is the real question, because I gotta get to that. What kind of stuff is that, boy?
Alright, we got this. 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 We got it! Hi! Isn't it so good? The poor cat dying. I was like watching that this morning and I was like, what? Video games have the worst way of torturing us. And as much as I hate to say it, it brings other people so much joy. So let me call Mad Madam M in real quick. Hi!
Hi, how are you doing?
I am amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. You know, I am both very nervous and very excited to get started and trying not to lean too close to the camera and microphone all while this is going on. So
You're doing amazing so far. I just wanted to compliment that video. It is incredible and it made me laugh so hard this morning.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I did my best. I'm not the best video editor out there, but I definitely wanted to throw something together as best as I was able. So I'm glad that it turned out so good. And huge shout out to Kayla for helping me with the last couple of edits. She helped with the music and that last slide there. So thank you so much for that. It was fun to do, and I'm glad that I'm able to just, you know, use some of my time to highlight some of my friends who also stream and play games. So it was a great opportunity to do that.
And you did an incredible job. So thank you for joining us and taking the time to make such an awesome video, talking with us about your experience as a Black woman in gaming. So
Absolutely.
to start off, could you tell us a little bit about you, what you stream on Twitch, what your dream in gaming is?
Sure. So my name is Emily, but most people call me Em. In addition to loving video games, I love movies, cooking, baking, books, anything that keeps me the homebody that I am. So a lot of the things that I play and stream, we do a lot of variety of games. So I play a lot of FPS games like Overwatch and Apex. We do a lot of action games, narrative games, MMORPGs like Dragon Age Inquisition. I play that at least 6 times on stream, and World of Warcraft. And another thing I love is horror and survival games. Some of the most fun I have is when I play a new one that comes out on stream with everyone, and we all like try to navigate it together and try to not die about like 20 times within one stream. And my dream in gaming is to either work in esports as an event host or on the production side, or as a community manager for a games community, though really it's hard to like narrow it down to just one thing you want to do because there's so many amazing opportunities in gaming.
Incredible. You are like super into film as well. I was peeking your Twitter earlier.
Yeah, film is something that I've always had a love for, and I would love to make movies someday. Like I said, it's hard to narrow it down to
I
like
was
one
about to
thing you
say,
want to
you
do
got
with
your
your life. It's
hand
like,
in every basket. That's good, though.
yeah.
It's good to have a bunch of interests. So, as a recipient of the BroadcastHER Academy, what was your reaction to being chosen, and what did you use your funds for?
Well, I would have to say that my first reaction was sort of just to sit there in disbelief, kind of not really believing that I had been selected for about maybe a good 20 minutes. I was just like, oh, this happened. And it didn't really connect right away. But once it did, I sort of just felt like immediate like gratification and just a sense of appreciation for 1,000 Dreams for having set up this fund for people to be able to further their dreams in broadcasting and esports and gaming. And then at the same time being excited to be able to take that step in my own esports and gaming interests and skills to the next level. So it was first reaction was just sort of sitting there dumbfounded on my couch. And then about 30 minutes after that, it was just sort of like shaking with excitement and joy that I had been selected because it was totally out of the blue for me.
That's so exciting. So, you were mentored by the Cloud9 team manager. How do you think those resources through the BroadcastHER Academy will continue to help you reach your dreams in esports and gaming?
Yeah, so I was mentored by Eunice Chen, and like you said, she's the Cloud9 team manager. She was not only just an amazing person to talk to and get to know, but she also gave me such a great amount of advice regarding what it's like to work in esports and what it's like to sort of navigate that environment in a way that makes the best use of your skills and helps you know how to do your job and make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible for everyone who's involved. She definitely helped me better understand what kind of like experience and drive is needed to have a career in esports, as well as how to like better understand like the skills and abilities that you already have that maybe you don't even know would translate into esports. Can help you find the best role that would suit you in that field. So I think that having that as part of the BroadcastHER Academy initiative is great for anyone who does it and applies. And having those mentors connections being made gives you sort of a step up that I feel like a lot of people are always telling you that you need to have and are always looking for to be able to continue looking for work and to get better experience and improve your skills in that industry.
1,000%. Getting to talk to people, especially that are doing things you want to do, is always like, tell me what you're doing. I want to know so bad. So,
let me know your secrets.
Let me just take that from your brain and I will keep it in my pocket. So it's so important to provide a platform and be inclusive to the Black community and other marginalized groups. How has it felt over the past few weeks as many of these problems within the gaming community continue to come to light and be rightfully called out?
I think that, and it's hard for me to personally speak on this matter just because I myself have been trying to take a break from social media just because it can get overwhelming so much right now with everything else that's
1,000%.
going on as well. But I feel on the one hand, I absolutely believe that there should be a lot of support as much possible provided to those who are coming forward with their stories. And for those who want to see the gaming communities change for the better, as well as being appreciative of those who have been doing this work and have been looking out for people who have been marginalized and taken advantage of. So it's hard to really sort of narrow down one feeling about all that's been going on lately, because of course I feel for those who have come forward with their stories and want to do everything in my power and ability to make sure that they have everything that they need, not only to be safe within the gaming community, but also have resources that they need to take the right steps towards like healing and feeling safe and heard by those who are also here.
1,000%.
So on that hand, I also would hope that we see all of this going on now. And as people who are in this community can learn from this to not only listen to those who are coming forward, but also on how to make our communities and our spaces safer.
1,000%. So could you sidestep from that and tell us a little bit more about your background as a Black woman gamer and maybe some of the struggles or discriminations you faced because of that aspect?
I'm ready to talk about this. Yeah, I had to think about it a lot. Just sort
Yeah.
of like reflect on how long I've been gaming and what that experience has been like, not only like growing up and becoming the person I am right now today, but also On just the past couple of years alone, I've seen a lot of different ways that being a Black woman can affect your experience in gaming and just wanting to better understand esports in general. So I guess I'll start with my most recent experience. So I graduated this past December from my university, and during my time there, I spent about 2 years or so as part of our esports club. I was actually one of the first members to join when it was first established. And this was before it had any like official school funding. This was before it was like an official registered club, anything like that. And I sort of helped out with that in terms of like the organization aspect. Not a lot. I definitely have to credit that to some of the other members. They truly put the work in to found that. But something that definitely stuck out to me was I played on the Overwatch team for those years. And something that really stuck out to me was when I went to the tryouts before when the club was been first founded. And I talked with my friend. And she said, everyone really liked your tryout. They said that you did really well, that you played really well, and that you were a good teammate. And I was like, that's great. Can I ask like what they said or is there anything I need to do? And they said, well, they said that, the girl did really well. And that really kind of just it sort of passed by in that moment. But looking back on it, it sort of made me feel a little bit strange that during this time when you're trying out and you're trying to find like teammates and these people you're going to be like playing with and interacting with for long periods of time over the course of like multiple semesters, they didn't even go so far as to learn my name. And it sort of just highlights how women and Black women especially can just be like overlooked and ignored and sort of disregarded in gaming spaces overall. And moving on from that, the second year I was a part of the club, it had grown a lot. There were maybe 100 members at this point, and they had added in new teams and new games that people were playing. And I noticed right away that the environment had changed. Whereas the club had been just sort of a smaller group, and there were maybe still only a few women, but it was definitely led by a woman. She had since graduated. And those who had taken over were generally, actually, I think everyone who ran a team was white and male. And there were very few women in the club at all. And most of the other players who joined all of the teams were white and male. And it just felt the energy just had changed in the room. And I know that walking in, sometimes, at least in the beginning, people would wonder if I was like in the right place, or they would give you sort of that side glance, like, what's she doing here? That's not normal. So the just space had changed from sort of being like normal and sort of a regular thing to sort of being felt like an outsider, even though I had been a part of the club longer than probably 90% of the people who were there. And then I remember one time I was actually practicing we have a game lab at our school late one night on a Friday, which is what gamers do on a Friday night at college because we game.
Right.
That's all we do. But someone had brought a friend with them. And I don't even know what conversation they were having. My headphones were plugged in. I was not following the conversation at all. But very loudly, this random person who was a guest, who I'm pretty sure knew that I was in the room, said very loudly, Black people don't go to this school. And I looked up and I just kind of stare at both of them. And the person who said it doesn't even acknowledge my presence. And his friend just kind of mouths, "I'm sorry." And it was just sort of that experience of one, not even being noticed that you're in the room to begin with.
Right.
Even though it's like a relatively small room and
Right,
there weren't
pretty
that many
obvious that you
people
were
in
there.
there.
Yep.
And it's like, and I have a big head. I'm hard to miss. So it's just sort of things like that that make you really notice how people feel about having you in what they deem as their space or their
Mhm.
community, as opposed to how we just want to be sort of just treated the same as anyone else and valued for our not only skills in gaming, but the experiences that we've had. That gives a unique perspective on like what needs to change and how people in
Mhm.
community should behave.
1,000%.
But on the positive side, I found amazing communities to be a part of, like Brown Girl Gamer Code and Black Girl Gamers, that allow me to work not only with other Black women and brown women, but reaffirm for myself that I am not necessarily an outlier. I have just as much right to be in this space as anybody else, and nothing can change my mind on that fact anymore.
Amazing. First of all, having groups like that where you can be made to feel like you aren't like some weird loner in this community after being made to feel like that is just so valuable. I'm so glad you have that community. How do you think that you've gone into those specific instances? How do you deal with them, or what could we do to make platforms safer or more inclusive for everyone? To make those people kind of realize these people are already in this room. They've been here all along. You've just been ignoring them.
I think that, and it's sort of not necessarily even a two-way street. It's like in a two-way street. I don't know what a two-way street would be, what that would look like. But it's not even a two-way street necessarily. Like, this is an entire like intersection here that you have to consider. So something that I personally need to start doing better for myself is not being quiet or keeping my head down on issues or these matters, and really start taking a more active stand. And something that I did for myself recently was I left my college esports group, especially since I noticed the way that the behavior had changed, especially in that Discord group. I didn't want to be there anymore, and I didn't feel necessarily like I had to stay there. I was like, you know what? I can better convert my personal energy and my personal resources into continuing to cultivate spaces that I'm already in and that want to actively be better, as opposed to something that is trying to hold on to this toxic image of the past that they feel like defines them. So I left that. And the minute I hit leave Discord, I felt really great. So
I bet you were like,
that's something that I feel like people personally can do, is if you acknowledge that a space that you're in is not being hospitable or safe to women, people of color, and especially women of color, you should leave. Like, regardless of if you have friends, regardless of if you've been there for a long time, regardless of if you maybe even have been a part of like making that space what it is. If it is not a safe community for those who have more trouble operating in gaming spaces, then is it really worth staying? Is that a place that you want to connect yourself with? Is that something you want to be associated with? So even something as small as that is a big step. And something that can be done that's bigger is taking the time to, especially when it comes to like broadcasting and people who live stream, taking the time to find support and keep up that support for Black and brown streamers. I remember, and this is something that I think I could have mentioned this in a future question, but I'll bring it up now. I was logging into Twitch for the first time in a while, and I noticed that when it says recommended streamers, still on the left-hand side, primarily all that you see in the recommendations tab is primarily like either streamers who are white or streamers who are male. Excuse me. And usually it is a combination of those two things. Like all of it. I think maybe there was one person of color, possibly, and this is because I was just logging in for someone who wanted to watch today. So hi, if you're watching. But also it's like seeing that sort of like default algorithm of just who is being like put forward and who is being prioritized and who is being recommended tends to leave so many people out of the narrative, and sometimes that's not realized. So really putting in the work to finding streamers and supporting them with as much energy as to you give maybe like the most popular streamers and your favorites is fundamental to really changing the game for a lot of people who are great broadcasters but who aren't given the same opportunities as others.
1000%. And just making sure that you, if the algorithm isn't going out of its way, that you do the work for the algorithm. Because somebody's got to do the work if the algorithm's not going to do it for you. So could you tell us some about your favorite things that you've accomplished so far as a woman in gaming?
I would say that's something I accomplished was actually still during my time at university. And this was something that I worked on with a group of other female gamers as well. So shout out to Ali, Alex, and Katie. I doubt you're watching, but thank you so much for helping me with this experience. And we organized what was called Women's Game Night as part of our game development and design club. And it was a fundraiser for the Girls Make Games organization. And what it was just, you know, one night out of the semester for women to come in to what is normally a locked game lab, people who are only in the major, and to just play games and have fun and eat a lot of food and then eat more food and then play more games with each other in an environment that is like safe and respectful and made to feel welcoming to women who maybe don't normally feel like they can play games in a more public space with each other. So we set up a Smash tournament. It was a lot of fun. We made sure that the space was reserved and that there were people constantly around to make sure that no one would try to come into the space who had not reserved a slot yet. We had a game room set up specifically for scary games. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great time to just see how many people showed up, not only to support a cause that is very important to support young ladies who want to learn more about game design and get into that field, but also to just, relax and have fun and not feel pressured to act a certain way or be a certain way, and to just have a fun time with friends. So that's something that I would definitely say is a big accomplishment from my ye old school days. Something that I feel very accomplished for right now is definitely working with the communities I'm in, like Brown Girl Gamer Code and Black Girl Gamers, to continue to cultivate our spaces, to provide resources for people who are part of our community, and to always be vigilant about what's going on in gaming spaces. That way we can be on top of continuing to protect those who are in our groups. So I would definitely say doing all of this amazing work with them. It's been a variety of things, such as doing fundraising streams. And we've been planning, and I don't want to give too much away because we do have some fun stuff planned that we've kind of been keeping on the down low. But we've been planning a lot of themed nights, and for Black Girl Gamers, we did wellness weeks when things were really just getting overwhelming in game communities. We did wellness weeks, I think a little bit back to back, about maybe a little over a month ago, just sort of provide people who were viewing a place to sort of relax and sort of check out for just a little bit, and to be in an area where they could talk and feel comfortable. And so I'm looking forward to continuing working with them to do more in the future.
First of all, I just wish I had been invited to this amazing gaming party with a bunch of women. That sounds incredible. Also, to be able to play games and maybe use comms where you're not being yelled at by men would be chef's kiss. Great.
Yeah, we definitely got pretty intense during some Mario Kart games, but I would say it was a great time to just be able to be around each other and not have to worry about turning your mic off or just completely not joining team chat because you're worried about what people might say to you. We definitely got competitive that wow,
Mario Kart really gets people.
Mario Kart
it
gets
digs
people
in deep from the age of the child's age until now. You're like, what is it about this game that makes me so vicious? So,
and then you play it and it's no, I have to activate the viciousness. I have to win.
Yeah, if I'm not vicious, I'm not
doing it.
Throw
those red
right.
shells, you throw the blue shells, and it's just you know what?
I'll do whatever it
takes.
You're
my friend, but I'm in second. You're in first. It's come to this.
We have this between us. How do you think the gaming community, brands, and platforms could continue to make gaming more inclusive?
I would definitely say that one of the biggest things that platforms and companies can do, or brands or communities or just whoever it is who really has that capability to make a really large impact, is just to continue to, step back a little bit, and let your voice and your platform be used by those who are in Black and brown gaming communities, especially for Black women, especially just because we tend to sometimes go overlooked more than others, especially from what I've seen over the past couple of weeks and how things have been unfolding and people's stories have been treated and processed. But I would definitely say letting them take the floor just for a designated amount of time to be able to talk about their experiences like we're doing right now, to be able to share their stories and share their knowledge about what they have seen and done over their time gaming is a huge step that can be taken. And another thing is really doing the actual work to support and draw attention to people who are in these communities who have been here and have been doing the work for long periods of time, just so that way you can sort of shine the spotlight on them outside of just Black History Month or any other sort of designated communities month or day, giving them regular impactful, like committed support that is habitual and outside of habit becomes just sort of the regular. Like it's so easy to like retweet and like a post. It's so very easy to do that and feel like, yep, I've checked that box. I'm done. All good. I officially can say that I supported this cause. But really, the real work begins when you actually take the time to hear what people in these communities have to say and then listen to those ways that you, who has this platform, can continue to make that change and committing to that on the long term.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think it's nice to be able to have people tell you what you need to do, especially in the space where so many people are like, you did it, you're done. And you're like, you're not done. You can't just, you can't just stop. Please don't do that. So who are some of your favorite Black content creators and broadcasters on Twitch?
Hard because it's like, I have to just pick a few.
You're like, can I not go through my entire list?
But I did write down a list, and I would say that some of my favorite are like Cup of Noodle is someone whose stream I always pop in whenever it's up. I love Miss Ash Rock, Story Mode Bay, DJ Knight and Sensei CJ are some of the most hilarious people who I've ever watched stream ever. Like I go in and it's just they're doing something that is just straight up wholesome or just fun, and their communities are also like very nice and cultivated well, and I've never felt unwelcome or unsafe or anything like that. I also love Cuddlecore is an amazing streamer. She does great work in the fighting games community. And then I also love all of the streamers who have their lineups for like Bronco Gamer Code and Black Belt Gamers as well. I would not be able to be the person I am today without their like continued support and their like continued community like dedication to like constantly being vigilant about having those resources and these like broadcasting spaces available to people. So like huge shout out to all of these people. Even if some of them probably don't know personally who I am, but that's okay. You've still impacted me and showed me that, you know, this is totally something that anyone can do. And you should feel like, you know, you can be in this space and be successful and make an impact no matter what you're doing.
I would just like to say they should know who you are. They'll know who you are eventually. We'll make sure of it. And also, Story Mode Bay is just like, for me, her sense of humor just kills me. She's just funny.
I remember watching recently, and I think they're playing The Last of Us 2, and there was a glitch where Ellie's hair like just vanished all of a sudden. And it was just the funniest thing I've ever seen because that doesn't happen like that. What kind of glitch is that?
They're like, and no more hair for you, Ellie. Thank you very much.
Like, you know, you're fighting clickers, you know, post-apocalypse, and it's just like hair gone, bye, no more. You don't get it.
No, we're done with that. I have a list of incredible Black content creators as well. One of my favorites and a good friend of mine, Engaged TTV, is queer and Black in the space and constantly makes me laugh. She's so ferocious. I'm very fiery, so seeing other people that get fired up kills me. Suspenders, hey Suspenders on Twitter. She's an emote artist and a Twitch streamer. She actually did all of my fiance's emotes, and she had Jonas Brothers specific emotes. So shout out to Suspenders for doing that for my fiance because I don't know who does that. And also Mocha Chocolate. I always call him Mocha. His name is not Mocha, but he's like, please. It's so cute. He does a lot of Just Dance streaming, and it's so wholesome.
Fun.
And Christina Ariel, who's a TTRPG, like she does a bunch of D&D and voice acting. She's on like Critical Role. She's so good, and she has this cosplay as Wonder Woman, which is just so incredible. And Wonder Woman is like my weakness. So seeing anybody do Wonder Woman stuff, I'm like, yes, thank you. So if you had to give one piece of advice to fellow Black broadcasters, content creators, or folks within gaming, what would that be?
Probably one of the harder questions out of all of today, just because it's like, you know, what do I want to tell people and what do I want to tell others? And what would be the most effective things that I could say? And I guess the one thing I would say to like fellow broadcasters and content creators is to truly just, you know, stick with it. If you really not only enjoy it, but want to continue to put in that work and want to continue to improve yourself with the kind of content that you create, you know, keep at it, keep going. you will be completely supported and people will want to support you if what you're doing is done with all of your heart. And I feel like a Disney slogan right now, but truly that is like the best piece of advice that I can give to Black content creators. And then for other folks within gaming, I would just say, especially with everything going on right now, truly start to put in, once you feel like you've had enough time to process and checking on your friends, start putting in that work to keep an eye out for those who are already in your communities and those who you support, and really sort of reflect on, ask yourself, do I want to continue with that support? And what sort of things you can kind of look out for in the future when you start to find other people to support as well, is okay, what kind of person do I want to put my time and resources into? What kind of community that they have do I want to see out there in gaming, and who is deserving of having an elevated voice and an elevated sense of presence in gaming? Because not everyone is going to want to support others. Not everyone is going to want to support Black and brown broadcasters and content creators. And they probably, it's not going to be said, no one will probably outright say that, but just be aware of who is doing the work for necessarily just themselves, and who is trying to do the work for the people in their communities and in gaming as a larger scale.
Amazing and so well put. I'm one of those people that has trouble speaking before thinking, so that was so impressive. I just wanted to say a huge shout out. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us today. I know this is not only just for women in gaming, an incredibly hostile time on the internet, but also for Black women in gaming. And so I know it's stressful. I really wanted to thank you for your time and for speaking up today when I know it's probably emotionally draining on every aspect for you. Do you have any final tips or thoughts you'd like to add?
Final tips or thoughts? Something I will say is, don't right now, especially if you're a woman in games, is, it's okay to check out for a day or longer if you need to. You have to take care of yourself first before you can try to help others. So, and as well as for other people, is really now is a time to start being active about supporting those who deserve it the most and need it the most, as well as taking a stance against those who don't deserve to be here any longer. So, it's time to start putting in some more work, and I, for one, am ready to do that work.
1,000%. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us and to talk to us. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations once again on everything you've accomplished so far. If you haven't already, please go check out Emily everywhere. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me here. And another shout out to 1,000 Dreams and Bronco Gamer Code and Black Girl Gamers for just everything that they've done. Would not be able to be here without any of you, and I appreciate you allowing me to have a chance to talk on such an amazing platform. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Have an amazing rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Hi, y'all. First of all, how sweet is Emily? Please, all of Emily's stuff, I know Kayla's putting it in chat, and it was just on the screen, but if you haven't already, take the time to click those things. I know that as people of the internet, we sort of forget that those are things we should be clicking on or things we should be doing. Take the extra 5 seconds and click and follow and listen and learn and watch and enjoy from incredible Black women content creators. Thank you so much to Richard and to Emily for joining us today for our show and for talking about exciting things to come for 1DF and your experiences. Please don't forget to follow 1,000 Dreams Fund social media at 1,000 Dreams Fund everywhere. And the 1,000 Dreams Fund and Hitmarker workshop is happening July 30th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The registration is open now and the link is right in chat. So if you want to click that and do it, because I personally, listen, this is such a niche universe of things in gaming and learning. Getting your hands on all of the knowledge that you can possible, especially just from hosting this stream, I've learned so much. It's so useful to have. Maybe you're not writing something now, but you may need to write a cover letter in the future. It's perfect. Please do it. Thank you so much for being here. It was incredible to get to talk to you all. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Yeah, Pizza Yeti, thank you for having that incredible clip. All of the incredible clips in that video as well. Thank you so much. Have an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Please keep doing what you're doing on social media, on Twitch, supporting the people you should be supporting, checking the people that you are supporting and making sure they're doing the right thing as well. It doesn't hurt to take 5 seconds to make sure who you're watching is doing something they should be doing. Have an amazing rest of your day, y'all. I'll see you pretty soon. Bye. Have an amazing rest of your day.